In many projects, we will receive data and evaluate the data, which leads to corrections in the field for the systems being analyzed. And then sometime later, and this may be weeks or months later, another iteration of data is received to be reanalyzed to make sure that the corrections actually took place. And in those cases, the model that we create initially and the logic that we set up with template graphs, folder structures, etc., is something that we want to keep without having to recreate it when the revised data set arrives. In the old UT, the re-importing of such data created a duplicate set of channels, and those would then have to be re-edited to be analyzed. The new UT3 allows us to re-import data, and it will automatically append the data to the original channels. So here's an example of this. Let's say we have a project which we received data on in 2 different periods, summer and winter. And I have 2 databases here that are actually called summer and winter. But that's something that I did, and normally speaking, when we receive them from the controls contractor or building owner, they would probably simply be called the database name itself. So I'm going to start with the summer database, and I'm going to open that data by dragging it into the UT. For larger databases, this may take a while. We can see down here that the UT is actually running on the import. And now that the data has imported, I'm going to take a look at just a few channels just to get an idea of what we're looking at. So maybe I'll make a chart. And start off with a new line chart, and then take a handful of channels in here. So I'll take just the example for a single VAV box, floor 1 VAV 108, for example. And I'll simply take the charts, or the trends from that VAV box, put them in the chart, and then see them change as I re-import data. There we go. So I got some airflows, temperatures, what have you. So let's say I've set up a whole bunch of charts like this and analyses modules and sent back a report to the owner that says make the following corrections, and then several months later, namely for this, in this case the winter, I get a revised database. So I'm going to throw this database away and copy in its place the revised version, which is the winter data. And then I'm going to rename that. So now I have the same name for my data, and I'll simply drag that onto sources here as well. And the UT recognizes that this is the same data source, and it says I can either not import the data in case I have conflicts, or this was something I didn't want to do because I didn't realize the data was in there already, or I can use new data to replace old data, or I can merge it. And in this case, this is what I want to do. I want to merge the data so that the new trend data gets appended to the old trend data without changing the names of the trends. And here's the result. The UT has imported the new data and immediately updates the graphic to show that we now have winter data here. And so this is 4th quarter of 2007, 1st quarter of 2008, and here is 2nd quarter of 2008. So actually my example turns out to be a little backwards. The winter data was the data that we got first. But you can see the principle. So with the same channel names, the UT has now made it possible to look at both sets of data without changing any of the underlying model structure.